Well, howdy, partners. Sean here with Blue Ridge. Doing something we haven't done in a minute. Fancy serial number report coming at you. Hope everyone's doing well. Happy Friday. Now we're back on track here with this video. Usually I do this about once a week, sometimes twice a week if you guys are behaving yourselves. But yeah, we're gonna look at last 12 hours of activity. It's been quite active. Not to mention that someone had bought, uh, an ungodly amount of notes with sevens on them. There must have been probably 70 or 80 sales, probably more than that, of just dollar bills, fives, tens, 20s, $2 bills, and at the least they're gonna have four sevens. And there was a lot of them that sold. We're not going to talk about those, but I just want to let you guys know that if you have notes with at least four sevens that are grouped in a row all together, you might have a real shot at selling them. Now, the dollar bills, they're kind of selling for around $5. That's how much this person is paying for those. But time to hunt through our paper money for more than one reason. Fancy serial numbers has really shaped the market in a new way. People are going through their notes, their bills, to look for any sort of neat serial number pattern, and that's normally what we talk about here. One of the coolest things about collecting these is that you don't have to grade them; they kind of speak for themselves. You ask most collectors of these things, and they'll tell you they'd rather have the notes raw, ungraded, which means you're not wasting your money grading these things. And they're still going to sell for, a really great amount of money. I would say pretty close or on par to what the market value is. All right, so let's get started. We have a 1999 $1 bill. Why this one's neat? It has 7/8 in there. This is actually one of my favorite notes here today. And it sold for a very reasonable amount of money. It does have a little circulation wear. This is what they commonly refer to as a seven of a kind fancy. There are two different types of sevens. There's seven of a kind and seven in a row. You guys kind of can figure out what seven in a row is. That's not what we have here, because there's a seven right in the middle, interrupting the whole damn thing, for crying out loud. Not really. But I can tell you this right now, that eights are the most popular selling number today in the hobby, in fancies. So if you have something like this, they do pretty well. Now, this one I would say probably sold for a little bit less than what I would consider to be fair market value. I've sold similar notes like this for about $100 or more. Conditions, everything still. So don't let anybody tell you otherwise. 55, it's not too bad. And again, the note is circulated a little bit. Next one up here, we have a low serial number. Again, I would say probably an underwhelming or underperforming sale here at $35 is serial number 184. Ta-da! And that's on a 2017A note. Now, the note is pretty well circulated as well. That's really easy to see, and $35 again for a low serial number. I've seen these sell at the minimum for $50. I mean, we have a few more in this video that you guys will see for yourselves. How much I would consider to be more of the normal market for a 3-digit serial number. And believe it or not, this is like one of the lower 3 digits that we have here on the show today. So I don't know what happened here, but someone I would say probably got a decent deal on it. Is it like a lights out kind of deal? No, not exactly. You probably saved $10-15 there. Neat one here. Ronald JH is one of the more reliable sellers with fancy cereals on eBay. I would dare say he's probably one of the top 5. Top 5 of selling this kind of thing here. So we have a 4-digit or quad repeater, is what these are normally referred to. It's on a 2017 $1 bill. 9400, pretty easy. I think the only thing missing here is maybe a matching prefix and suffix letter. I think that would be pretty cool. But, outside of that, this is a very neat note. And Ronald usually puts in condition. This one does have a teller stamp on the reverse, which is a little bit distracting, but at the same time, you take what you could get here. $31 with 10 bids. Not too bad, guys. Again, that's pretty good for a 4-digit repeater. They don't customarily sell for that kind of money because 4-digit repeaters normally are kind of on that basement level of fancies along with radars, things like that. All right, so pretty respectable sale there. Our good old friend Sam from Kingdom Currency makes the list with this one here, 5 in a row zeros. They also call these millions notes, and it's also a trinary, so it's got a few things going for it. But why they call it millions notes is that it's going to end in at least 4 zeros. The notes that end in 4 zeros or 4 nines generally are not released out into circulation. They're called changeovers because they go from one serial number and then it switches over to another one higher from that, and usually they pull these out the group as they're being printed, or after they're cut rather. But $25 sale on this one here, and the note seems to be in pretty good shape. Call it VF, I suppose. Yeah, VF 25-30 level. Nice. Very well collected, grade level. I mean, I've seen a lot worse that people do collect into. That's kind of like one of the cool aspects of collecting fancy serial numbers is that condition does matter, but it doesn't matter as much as you think, right? It's like collecting early copper coins, large cents, half cents, colonials, things like that. Condition kind of matters less on some of those. People want the nicer condition pieces, of course, but at the end of the day, it's not a make or break deal. And we have this one duplicate star note, and the seller calls it a fancy. I don't know why it's a fancy. It is, they said low run. Not exactly a low run. The duplicate stars of either Washington, D.C. or Fort Worth printings are not considered really low run. However, there is something to be said with how star notes are performing in this market today, because the BEP is phasing out the production of star notes. Now, I feel like I've been kind of promoting that for quite a while here. Over the course of the last 90 days, I've been talking about star notes and how they're, kind of like making their way out. The days of finding the BEP straps with star notes or 100 full sequential notes all in one are going to be a part of yesteryear. All right, so people are getting a little bit nostalgic here. One of the big winners, I would say, from this is the duplicate star note crowd. So these are all dated 2013. They're going to have a B in the district seal because they're all the New York districts. And if you got these and you got in and you were grandfathered in, I would say 5 years ago, you guys are doing really good. These used to be attainable for $10 or less. And now all of a sudden, a lot of the notes are easily fetching between $25 and $50. Now this particular one, again, no real reason why. It's not a pristine note as far as condition or grade. It's sold for $150. So maybe someone really likes the serial number. They associate maybe the 11 being November in a calendar year, and then 98 being a graduation year or birth date or something to that effect. So November of 98, I turned 20 years old in November of 98. So yeah, I suppose this has a little bit of sentimental feeling. And again, it's all about the sentimental, by the way, on some of these. There are some notes where there's just no rhyme or reason as why they sell for a certain amount of money other than maybe a personal connection to it. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. You could sell a note and you could put some outlandish amount of money for the sale price and it ends up selling anyways. Okay, but don't question it. Just value the sale. Give your guy great customer service. Okay, here's another neat one here. 4-digit repeater, and you got 4 different digits. So it's innocuous. It's innocent. This one I would say is easily missed if you're not paying attention. 3528, 3528, $1 bill, $29.99. Okay, I'll take that. That's above average, and the note seems to be uncirculated too, which is a huge plus. Me personally, I wouldn't consider this a low serial number, but there are folks out there that do collect into the 4-digit serials, and I'm fine with that. It's okay. That just means that the overall collector base and the understanding of fancy serial numbers is growing a lot larger than what we construe as kind of like the Mount Rushmore of fancies, whether that's solids, ladders, low serial numbers, high serial numbers, radars, super repeaters, things like that. Kind of throw that premise out the window because now people are looking, at that secondary tier of what they consider to be fancy serial numbers. And then you have something like this that sells for $25. Again, there's really no rhyme or reason. To the person that bought it, probably they thought it was a really cool low-digit serial number. But at the same time, it's still along the lines of maybe a budget piece. Because 3-digit serial numbers, you're going to end up spending at least 2 times this amount of money and higher for a lower grade 3-digit serial number, than you would anything else. So again, the potential here in this market is growing wider and stronger with each passing day. You guys need to know that. Like, for instance, here you go. This is a great follow-up example. 3-digit low serial number 437 sold for $50. The person that bought it never bothered to put in a best offer. They just I like it, and it went for $50. Now keep in mind, a few slides ago, we saw that one note, a 3-digit, what was it, 186, 187 or whatever, that sold for 30 some odd dollars. All right. So, here's one that's a little bit higher number. The note might be a little bit better condition. However, a $50 bill, a little bit more. So, again, you can there is quite a bit of a range or a buffer in the valuation of a lot of the notes. I think it more has to do with the educational and the prep, the pre-prep of submitting these on eBay for sale. If you're not doing your homework and you underprice something, then you were going to sell it fast, don't get me wrong, but you're going to sell it for a lot less than what the potential could be. Date, full date, serial numbers are great right now. They all tend to fall in that $20 to $30 range. Here's one that sold for $20. Reading August 10th, 1953. So it sounds like a birthday or an anniversary, which is pretty cool. And it's oriented to what we call the Western way of writing it down. 08 for the month, 10 for the day, and then a full date, 4 digits for the year, 1953. So again, another perennial favorite there on that one. Here's one, and fortunately, it's not from a seller that I had talked about where they had one of these notes that are very similar. And I refer to it as a tombstone note. Kind of makes sense, right? You have 2 years that are perfectly placed on the note, where the first year is the earlier year and then the second year is the much later year. 1948 to 1979. You can either call it anniversary note. I've heard it called tombstone note, as if, maybe someone, a loved one or something, was born in 48 and passed away in 79. And the person that I talked about, or I didn't talk about that particular seller, but I talked about their note, and I referred to it as a tombstone note, which is what we call it out in the culture of fancy serial numbers. And he reached out to me and said, "Well, if you're going to be calling it that, I don't want you talking about my listings anymore." So I actually saw another tombstone note that he had sold within the last 12 hours, but I elected not to cover it. But this one ended up popping up $15. They tend to fall in that $15-$20 range. Some might go a little higher, some might go a little bit lower. But these are worth more than what face value is. Okay. There was actually someone that had found a bicentennial note where it was 1776, 1976, so the 200th anniversary. I thought that was the coolest thing ever, and that's a note that I honestly think is worth like maybe $400 or $500. It's that cool, and you just don't see it. So the tombstones, the regular dates, like the one we just looked at, the August 10th one, they're all quite popular now as people are trying to look for specific dates that have some sentimental factor to them. So keep that in mind. If you come across them, they're always worthwhile holding on to, reselling them, especially dollar bills. Unless you need that dollar bill to help pay for a hot lunch or something, then you do what you have to do. But in cases like this, you could fill out an eBay store with a few of these birthday notes, and you will be more than surprised at what the overall outcome is going to be as a result. So keep that in mind. We have a binary radar. This is one of the perfect looks of this. $55 sale, which is good. I think it's good for this one. Some would say it's a little bit, it's like overachieving a little bit. But you have the 4 5s in the middle and then bookend 11s. So radars, traditionally, the first four numbers read the same backwards on the second set of four. They call them also palindromes, but palindromes also, they could be words as well. Pretty decent though, VF25, I guess. But yeah, pretty nice sale there. Here's another one from our boy Sam from Kingdom Currency. He calls this multiple pairs. I call it quad pairs. They're both one and the same. This one sold for $29.99. So it's got 2 5s, 2 2s, 2 4s, 2 3s, but they all have to be paired and grouped together in such a fashion like this. Keep in mind, by the way, I promote Kingdom Currency stuff. We all know Sam. We've had him on the live coin Q&A show before. So he's a good friend of ours. So he does have a 5% off coupon on his website by using this code right here at checkout. So if you're into this and you want to buy a few pieces, Kingdom Currency, at one point was the number one guy in fancy serial numbers. So he's still up there, but he's kind of let it relinquish a little bit. And had guys like Ronald J.H. and a few others kind of, swoop in and take over due to changes in family and things like that. So there you go. 2017 $20 bill. This one's a star note, and it's a trinary, I guess. 0s, 4s, and 6s. All right, you can see that there. Now it's a little bit sideways. Now keep in mind, in eBay's editing tool, you could actually rotate these so that way you don't have to cock your head to the side to find out what it says. So 000466646. I mean, that's pretty cool. $35 sale here on this one. Higher denomination notes, you gotta be careful because you may or may not make your money back. The face value of a note is considered what your cost of ownership is of the pieces. So make sure you're clearing a certain amount of money that you're selling these for, where it's not too high a price, but yet you're still going to make some money at the end. This person probably will end up making about $10 here. Nothing too crazy, but it works. Definitely works. Here's another 4-digit repeater. This one is $12.50 with 5 total bids. 0232, 0232, and a nice crackling fresh note here. Looks like it has a centerfold, so call it AU there. Another one from Ronald. This one he called a double repeater. So this is one of those hybrids, and these are hybrids of any type are kind of making some strides out there in the market because they're more affordable and they're neat as heck. $22.72 on the sale, 7 bids, and it reads 61619393. So it's a hybrid super repeater kind of note there, but it's not all the same pair of number going across. So pretty neat. Sold one of those just the other day, and probably sold it for like $20 or so. Here's a repeating binary radar. Dang, that's a mouthful. We have a seller with 0 feedback, by the way. So zero brand new sellers. Okay, they can get some pretty good banging sales here. This one sold for $32.99. It was bid up with 14 bids. 5445, 5445. So it's a repeater, a radar, and a binary. It's like 3 different fancies all in one. And the note, pretty ragtag. I'd say VF20 here on this one. This one has seen quite a bit of action in today's commerce. Next one here is actually a pair. And I have a feeling that these were bought by the one individual that was like buying up all the 7s. And $39.95 on the sale price here. And 2 notes. The top one here, a $1981 bill with 5 in a row 7s. And 6 in a row 7s on the 63A. So, wow, it's pretty neat. Nice amount of money, too. You usually don't see it sell for that kind of money. That's like $20 a note. The bottom note, that's 6 in a row, obviously would carry a little bit more weight on the value there. Here's a what we call a flipper fancy. So usually 0, 6s, and 9s qualify here because when you flip this note over, the 9s read as 6s, the 6s read as 9s, and the 0s still look the same because they just, yeah, there you go. That's what they did here on this one, is show the upside down number. Dollar bill, $4.99. Flippers with 0s, 6s, and 9s. Still trying to figure itself out in the market. I've seen some notes sell for a lot of money, but at the same time, you see notes like this that are obviously true blue flippers, and they're trinaries too. This one's a trinary because it has that 6 in there. Yeah, still trying to figure out the market here on these. Sometimes they'll just bang out a really high sale, and then sometimes like this, it'll just, it'll make you eat your own words. It did sell at 8 o'clock this morning, 8:30. We have this one here, which is a true blue radar, which is a 4481184. This one sold for penny shy of $30 on this dollar bill. So I don't know. It looks like they were selling a couple notes. I don't know what it is. Oh, that's neat. A little fancy serial number book. Hey, pretty cool. And look, he has the full. What is that, $1,000 or so right there. So he goes through some notes. I will say that. So this individual raked in some money there. That's a great sale. Here's a few of the bangers. 2013 double quad on a $1 bill. Double quads are 4 of a kind of any 2 numbers and are grouped together. $160. This is one of your top tier, top flight fancy serial number archetypes. 4 1s, 4 2s. Again, man, that is sweet as honey. Nice note too. VF30, I would say. Always going to be a very expensive note. Here is a wild one here. It actually ends in 6/9. So again, prefacing what I talked about, this note was actually pulled out because it's one of those changeover notes because it ends in 4 9s. But 6 in a row 9s. Turned out to be an $86 sale here with 17 bids. This time on a $5 freaking bill. I mean, again, this is one of those crazy listings that you hear so much about. And it turned out to be a real winner here. So congratulations to the seller and to the buyer. If this is something that they wanted and needed, they got it. Neat one here. 7 of a kind zeros, but also it's a low serial number. So it's serial number 700. This one sold for 130 bucks and it's on a dollar bill. And the dollar bill, it has just a little bit of circulation wear. Again, probably like a VF30, 35 level grade. You can see the little paper wave in there. Seller did a really good job with the photography. Okay, got a lot of information from every single image, and it's going to be shipped in a currency sleeve. Thank you. Thank you. Always important, especially for the higher end notes. This one here was the best offer accepted. Not sure what it is, but let's speculate here. It's a 7 of a kind force with a 0 in the middle. So if we were kind of playing off what we had seen earlier in the show, what is that? Maybe a $50, $60 sale, maybe a little bit more, you know? I know a full solid fours of this note would be like $1,000. Solids always sell for a buttload of money. But a pretty nice note here. Looks like an XF40. They said AU Unk. So yeah, I'm kind of fooled there. It's got just a slight little bit of discoloration on the reverse, nothing too crazy, and you would have to look really hard at it. Pretty cool sale. All right, well, ladies and gents, that's the last one for the day. Thank you all again for tuning in on this quick little trip down memory road of some of these notes. And if I were you, open up your wallet, open up that pocketbook. Make sure you're not missing something where you can make a few bucks off of, because this part of the numismatics hobby is growing at a record rate, ladies and gentlemen, and you need to be there so that way you can join in the fun. All right, I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the hobby. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Come check me out on Whatnot. I sold a bunch of currency the other day. They also included some fancies, and we got more fancies on the way too. So I'll see you guys later. Take care.